Shut up and sit down.
Hello everybody, I want to welcome you to 294. That's right, this is episode 294 of Third Shift. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Mr. Eric. With me today is the inglorious bastard himself, the legend, the master, the maker, the sometimes salt shaker, Mr. Matt. He's here with me today. We're talking, we're having a good old time. Let me give you a spoiler. Gearbox had a panel, so we got some stuff to talk about, maybe. I don't know. But before we get any of that, hey, Matt, how's the week? What'd you do? What'd you play? Anything going on that we should know about? What's up?
My God, Eric, I got stuff to talk about. First up, the reason why we had to pre-record and record separately last week went out to a show called Swonderful with a singer and orchestra doing all the Gershwin songs, big famous songs, musical songs, sort of like opera songs too. It was fantastic. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. Good time out at the theater, like I always have. And then, by God's 2, if I have said it before, then by God's 3, if I've said it 3 times. This weekend, I went down to the Chicago suburbs area, not like main downtown Chicago, to watch New Japan's Windy City Riot show. Because for the first time ever, New Japan wrestlers came to the Chicago area, which is 3 hours, 30 minutes away. It's right around the corner. Jesus Christ, what a wonderful time. And I'm going to even go before the show, the day before, went to a place called Bauer House Brewing something, Bauer House Pub, Bauer House Bar, something. And I had the greatest burger I've ever had in my entire life. It was called the Machete. It had bacon on it, lettuce, tomato, onion, standard stuff. Had chipotle ketchup, a little spicy zing. What's on top of that burger? Fried cheese curds. Ooh. Bite into that burger. Juiciest burger I've ever had. Cheesiest burger I've ever had. Spiciest, sweetest burger I've ever had. I couldn't believe it. Just some bar in the corner on a strip mall, which apparently is the thing, because over there it's just all strip malls and bars in them and all kinds of stuff. Amazing food. Awesome beers. Then the next day, went to the New Japan show. I bought the ticket when I saw Minoru Suzuki was going to be on the card. Because I watch that dude on New Japan all the time. Love him. He's just a mean old cuss of an old dude. Beats the crap out of people, kicks them, throws them around. When he loses or wins, he beats up the young boys who are all around the ring, just beats them up. So as soon as I saw he was on the card, bought tickets. Because maybe only time in my life I'll be able to see this man wrestle. And he does a whole entrance where the crowd sings when he gets in the ring. It's beautiful. Wonderful. Then the card came out. It's him versus Tomohiro Ishii, who is just a refrigerator of a dude who just plows through people and beats them up. And they have, between the two of them, they have New Japan strong style matches where fight, no selling, bam, a blow, crumples this dude, and then he keeps beating on him, then he bows up, starts wailing on the other dude. I can't explain it well, but if you love New Japan matches, you love these two. They fought each other. My God. I'm getting goosebumps right now, remembering the goosebumps that I had when both of those dudes came out. I sang that song at the top of my lungs, and watching that match, I was doing this. I was rubbing my hands together like that GIF, and I was so goddamn excited. Everyone in the crowd was hot for it, too. If this was the 80s, I was a kid watching Hulk Hogan and Macho Man going at it. If it was the 90s, I was the little kid watching Stone Cold and The Rock going at it. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen live in my entire life. Being in the building, hearing and feeling like the crack of the hits. You'd hit it and everyone in the crowd would go, oh, and then just the battles back and forth. It was everything that I imagined that it could be. And everyone in the crowd loved it just as much. There was a big sign. I put it up on Twitter. People had a big, fabric sign they made. Murder Grandpa for Mayor. Because that's what you call Suzuki. Because he's an older dude. He's the Murder Grandpa. Vote for him for mayor. And I saw mayoral ads running while I was there on the TV. It was great. Wonderful show. And at the end of that match, Suzuki lost. He rolls out of the ring. The young boys all point him to the back. He grabs one. 2 or 3 are grabbing onto him. He bullies him into the guardrail, literally right in front of me. And I swear I took a picture of him as he was pushing him over, and I went, awesome. And I looked up from my phone, and I swear to God, he had that young boy in a chokehold, and he reared back, and he looked straight at my face, straight in my eyes. And he turned, and he beat the crap out of that dude. And everybody was going nuts. I couldn't believe it. It was the most magical event of my entire life. And as I was driving back home, I thought, it's not right, Eric. We can only have these moments outside of real life. You have to go do a thing. I can never be this happy in a regular weekly thing. It's not right. In my normal weekly life, I'm never that happy ever. But instead of going down that road of discussions, I'm going to say, when I got back, the only thing that's given me shades of that much excitement is getting back into Elden Ring. And I don't know what it was. Maybe I just needed that week off where it was quarter end week and life was hell and I could never play it. But getting back into that, everything I do, I love so much. Even when I'm stuck on bosses like I told you I was yesterday, like about an hour and a half between two bosses, and I was frustrated and I was getting mad. When you beat that boss, or when you get so close and you're just a sliver away and one more hit would have done it, but he killed you. And you just got to do it again. It feels so good when you change your tactics, when you do this, or when you're not stuck on a boss and you are just roaming around. I didn't even find those two bosses. I wouldn't have found them unless I was roaming all about. I went and did this, found this other boss, roaming up, and went up this giant mountain. I didn't even know this giant mountain was here, and I found it. And up I go up these giant-ass ladders. There's one of those beasts with the little scorpion face on the top of it. I ran from him and then went and found more stuff. I love that game. What we need to do, Eric, every year, we need to have a meme game. And I mean, it's happened 2 years in a row, so it's just going to happen again. We got to find a game and just be like, that game looks stupid. Why does everybody love that game? Because each time it's happened, it's Game of the Year, amazing awesomeness. Ghost was one. Now Elden Ring is here. What's next? Probably be like Last of Us 3, which neither of us are into, but
yeah,
I can't believe how much I love that game.
Maybe we God of War 2, because it ain't coming out this year, Matt. People keep saying, where's it at? It ain't coming. It ain't coming this year, folks. You would have already heard about it if it was coming this year. It's getting delayed to 2023. So, what's the Game of the Year 2023? God of War. And this will be where we get back in. And he plays the God of War series.
I will say it's possible, but that doesn't count because you're super into it.
I do.
It has
like
to be something
that
you think is a joke too.
That's true.
But man, I've just been playing Elden Ring. Oh man, and I've been watching anime. Oh, the other thing I did on that weekend is I got out my little tablet, my iPad, and I went, whew, Crunchyroll. Let's go. I got a couple hours to kill before the show. Boom, Golden Boy. Boom, this. Boom, that. My phone told me today to cancel Crunchyroll Premium because my free trial has come up. Now I can't do it because I have to watch it
There's a lot of good
on my
stuff.
iPad at work and have no commercials because I can't watch commercials because I hate commercials.
It wastes too much time.
Wow. You know what? I was down this week from that giant high that I was in. I went crashing down to earth and under the earth. But now remembering all this fun stuff, it's been a great goddamn week, Eric. How about you, my friend?
Well, let me tell you about this week. The weekend, I don't remember. I, honest to God, don't remember what I did this weekend. I existed. I did some things that real people do. Matt, do you know anything I did this weekend? Did I tell you anything?
You didn't, but I want to say it's almost hard for me to remember this weekend. As great as it was, it's just one of those weird things where we go in the fog for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then
and it was like a 3-day weekend, wasn't it? Didn't we have Friday off?
We did have Friday off.
Oh my gosh, man. I don't know. Those days they went. Something happened. They happened. I did play some games, but like real life, I don't know. Me and the kids, we went to Barnes & Noble. We read books, ran some errands, did some stuff. But I couldn't tell you what happened on Saturday or Sunday. Couldn't tell you if my life depended on it.
The show notes say Easter. Easter happened. It was Easter Sunday.
That's right. You're right. It was Easter. Yeah, we did a whole Easter thing. We went to family's house. And here's just funny. All right, people can probably relate. So we go to family's in-laws' house, the wife's uncles and stuff. And everything's fine. One family member, they believe that the earth is flat. And, Easter eggs symbolize like demonic blood on eggs or something. I don't know. It's weird. So then we got like this other pair, the actual uncle and aunt, and they're very like strict, like we are the rulers of this home. So anywho's, all this is in a play, right? The people that we generally hang out with, they don't come. They're sick. They don't come. All right. So here we are. Then my wife, she's like, "Oh, let me help you," because her aunt can't really move around real well. "Let me help you get your plate made." "No, that's okay. But she's already standing, so she gets the kids' plates made. And generally, there's like food all over the table, whole table, like wide food. All right. Sometimes you pass it around, but guess what? We have kids as a barricade in this whole side of the room. So she's like, "Well, no, seriously, let me get your plate. What would you like, aunt, of mine, and I'll help you out. That way you're good." And both her, the aunt, and the uncle are like, "We're going to pass these plates." So my wife, she goes, "Yeah, all right, I'm done. Sits down." And so they're like, "Well, pass the plates." All right, so people start passing this food around. Well, it gets to her spot. She's like, "No." So now we have to, like, divert the plate across the table, back across the table, to make this work when we're going. And then, inevitably, one of the kids drops an entire plate full of food all over the floor. It was a whole thing. And I had a moment, and I sat there, and I'm laughing. To me, this is hilarious. I go, you know what? This is that classic tale of a holiday you have with family, in-laws, whatever it is. And you're like, yep, this is why we don't do things with people. This is why, right here. All because of all this.
I say it all the time, Eric. I say it every time you and I talk and you tell me something. And I go, man, I need to just talk to you all the time because my life is so great. I don't have in-laws, obviously, but anytime I go to my extended family, everybody's happy, everybody's fine, everybody's smiling, everybody's happy and wonderful. There's no conflict, there's no nothing. And granted, I don't do that a lot, but still, I don't have to go and have bad times. Ever. I don't ever have to do that. And it just blows my mind. Just wow.
The beautifulness of the world, man, I'll tell you. So that all happened. Anyways, it was great. Had a good meal, had some times and did the thing. Easter went by. I did play some video games. We did some Tiny Tina's. And by Tiny Tina's, I mean on my side character, I caught up to where we were when we played the week brief. So, of course, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, yeah, the really fun quest where you get the polka dots on the goblin and tell her, hey, and then she falls in love with the goblin instead. And then I was reminded again of that beautiful moment when Butt Stallion had her head.
Whoa, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, doesn't matter. Anybody listening to this show, Matt, has already beat the game. They're in the cash chambers doing stuff. They're looking at us like we're stupid. So we won't play games. My favorite part, though, Matt, and it happened again, and it happened the first time, we got to the docks, and I'll tell you again, Wanda Sykes, man, I just love her, because, like you said, she just says all the things I say, and that's why I love her. She comes and she goes, well, what? I thought he was going to be knighted. I thought he was going to be more important than Scrubs. And then, I can't do that. Butt Stallion's the only one who can knight you, but I got something for you. So she goes, you are going to be a squire. And then Wanda's like, that's butt. That's straight butt. And I just was cracking up. I was cracking up again. And I know I enjoyed it the first time we did it, Matt. But, man, even the second time, I'm laughing, having a good time. And I'm like, God, this game, I'm enjoying it. I really like it. I really look forward to us getting actually on board and playing it and having some more fun with it. Maybe more than just 2 hours. For frickin' God's sakes. Maybe one night. We can play for more than just an hour and a half or 2 hours time.
Don't tell me, dude. You're the one who had family just show up in the middle of the night because that's apparently a cool thing that people just do. It's come
Once
on
again,
over.
My life.
Show up at 10:30 at night. It's just great.
You sit here, man. You constantly look at me like I'm crazy. Like this ain't true. You're lying to me. I'm not lying. This stuff, it happens. This is the world I live in. Chaos, weirdness, strangeness. All sorts of crazy things. This is what I do. This is how I roll. That's why when I go, man, I'm not gonna be able to handle that. And you go, why wouldn't you be able to handle it? I say, trust me, Matt, it's not gonna work out. You shake your head. You go, it's impossible. There's no possible way. It just is. Just accept it. It's wild. It doesn't make sense, but it is the reality of it. So, yes, I caught up to where we were. I got my secondary character up there, and I can't wait for tomorrow. Hopefully, nothing goes wrong, nothing changes, and we get to have a really cool session of some more Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. But I also played Elden Ring and Strangers of Paradise, and I'll be brief. Both games, phenomenal. Like you said, Elden Ring, man, I've gone in so many weird places. I finally just busted my head against the Lendel castle or whatever until I made it through, and I did. I made it all the way through, beat the boss, got all sorts of cool stuff, moved on. And I thought that was it. I was like, all right, here we go. The next area, no problem. Ended up, there's a boss you can't get past. You have to beat this boss to get to the land of the giants or whatever it is. That boss just keeps beating me over and over and over again. And I'm way high level. I'm like level 100, so I know I should be able to do this. But the build I have, what I'm using, whatever the case is, one shot I'm dead. So I'm over here just trying to figure out anything I can to get the summons, my summons or the summons to keep aggro. Doesn't work. Anytime I hit this boss, it's like, nope, I know who the real threat is. It comes flying at me, going nuts. I tried to kite it around like stones, trees, things like that, but it does splash damage through those. I cannot figure it out. Keeps beating me. So I got demoralized and went, all right, you know what you've been doing on your side hustle, Strangers of Paradise. Let's go do that. Your side hustle's been treating you real well. Everything's been great. Apparently, once you get to the time at the second time for the real time, that's kind of like its check. It goes, all right, have you been playing this game the way you're supposed to be? We've given you some bosses that are challenging but not crazy. Let's see if you actually know what you're doing in this game. And Timet is a beast. I keep getting them to second phase, getting them a little bit down. Cannot get past that. Just smoking me every time. I'll change up to mage. I'll go back to like just lancer so I can just hurl my lance at Timet. But even with the distance, you run out of your stamina, whatever you call it. And then you have to get in close. Timet's moves are all about in close. It does all these like vortexes, tornadoes, laser beams, all like close range. Then it will always do this huge jump move that does like crazy damage if you don't dodge it. But that's not the big issue. It's the close range stuff because you have to go recharge. And as soon as you go in, I feel like all it's doing is just boom, 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 close range, crazy damage. I can't figure it out. And I'll send my minions, my two guys, I'm like, all right, get its attention, try to do something. It's like they don't exist. Even when they're in there doing their like moves and stuff, as soon as I get in range, it's like, you're the one I'm going to kill. So it's kind of frustrating because I'm like, well, what's the point of them doing all their specials if they're not going to get aggro and give me time to like charge up my stamina so I can actually do some moves on you? Both these games now, I have to stop and go cheat and just go watch like a YouTube, like, what the heck do you do in this fight? And like we've talked about before, I don't want to do that. I kind of want to just do it and try to figure it out. But if I get too mad at something, you know how I don't want to do it. I'm like, I'm going to either figure this out or I got to quit because I'm not playing a game to get pissed off. So both those games, amazing. I'm enjoying both. But right now I'm just like stuck on them. And it's just been eating me alive for the last few days. And I haven't been able to play. So I can't even go in and fix it because I'm just sitting here stewing, man. Just going, why did they do this to me? I don't understand. And here we are tonight doing the podcast, having a great time, but another night of stewing because I can't play because of, this and the podcast and other stuff I had to do. I'm like, I just want to beat these bosses and keep moving. Let's do it.
Can't do it tomorrow either, dude.
And then tomorrow night, you're right, we're going to be doing Tiny Tina's, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And awesome, and I can't wait. But once again, I'll still, as a Friday night, going, these two games pissing me off. So I'm going to go into Saturday hot, man.
Uh-huh.
That's been my week. That's what I've been up to. You know how we do it. What else have you been doing? Any games come out? Anything happen? What's going on?
There's a game that came out, but it is a re-release of a game that I have played, but it's a game that I am very excited about, very passionate about, a game that I want to play more, and that's Road 96, which came out for Xbox and PlayStation as of last week, as we're recording this, the 14th of April, developed and published by DigiXArt, or DigixArt, I'm not sure, but it's a hard game to explain. I'm going to say it's a sort of roguelike, sort of randomized adventure game. Because it's a game all about, it's 1996, you live in the country, I think it's like Petria, and the leader of the country, it's ostensibly democracy, because an election is coming up, but he's clearly just a tyrannical leader. Bad stuff's going on in that country. People want to rise up, but they're afraid. And you play as one of a group of teenagers trying to cross the border, trying to get out of the country and go away. And on your way to the border, you usually start out, your kind of stats are randomized, and you start out a certain distance away from the border. And each chunk that you move up, you have like a little vignette. You started at 1,700 miles from the border in a car. So you have like the car vignette where you were hitchhiking down the road and you got picked up by these people. Or the first one you start, like literally the first one in the game, you're riding a bus. And so you just ride in the bus and then you look around and a scene happens in this bus or in the car or at the place that you stopped or as you're hitchhiking along the road, an event happens to you. And these events, they're not like randomized, but they're events that are tailored, but which one you get is kind of a random roll. And in those events, you meet all these different characters, and each of the kind of teenagers that you play will run into those certain characters in different ways, in different areas, in different situations. And it's kind of all about figuring out who you want to play as and or how best you can get out of the scenario, if it's a dangerous scenario, or, sometimes there's fun ones where, the taxi dropped you off at this gas station because that's where your money could take you, and you meet a cool character and, you kind of go on your way. But it's all about building up your resources, which are like cash and health, because if you get exhausted, you kind of drop, and then you can get picked up by the police and hauled off to jail. If you run out of cash, you can't take the bus, you can't take the taxi, now you got to hitchhike the next way. And so from that vignette where you hitchhiked out, you'll only make it 5 miles down the road before the next event. Whereas if you get in the car or the bus, now you can make it 20, 50, however long. It's hard to explain this game in words because the events and the vignettes that you get into can be hilarious. They can be kind of melancholy. They can be serious. They can be fun. They can be super tense and dramatic, like that bus scene. There's a police officer whose car broke down as she's trying to transport this kid to the detention center. She and this kid are on the bus, and the people on the bus are very against the government, and they're like, why are you taking this kid? Where are you going to take him? And he's saying, she's going to take me to the mines, which is where supposedly these runaway teenagers are thrown in the mines and then they're never heard from again. But the officer is a really nice lady. And it's this back and forth, and the tension in these scenes can mount so well. And it's so strange because it's a small game from like a small French studio. But the way the music amps up and the situation kind of gets out of control if you let it, or you can try and calm it down. But sometimes you trying to calm down the situation is what inflames it further, just like real life. So this game is a ton of fun. I've played it on stream once, and I made one run all the way to the border and made it through. And then the second run, I got too cocky and got arrested halfway there. And then as your runs progress, by doing certain things in those runs, you can unlock traits that help you in the next run, even though you're not playing the same character. Like, hey, you've unlocked the lockpicking trait. Now, if you have a lockpick in your hands and there's a locked thing, biggity boom, there you go. Or if you really do some good scavenging, the next time you have a higher chance of finding better loot in the trash cans or whatever. So it's a game you can play through a ton of times until you see all these scenes and meet all these characters, and some of them are just so off the wall goofy. Some of them, you can tell they're really nice people just trying to get by. Some people are just straight up mean. It's really interesting to take these different paths and kind of see where your heart takes you, or the way you want to play this run will take you, because it can go really, really well and you can escape and have no problems. It can go midway, you made it halfway and got arrested. You can get shot and killed. It all depends on what you want to do in this world, but it's just something about this game. I love it. Ever since I've got it and I did that one stream, I wanted to play more, but other things keep coming in and distracted me, and I don't know. It's a fantastic game, and now it's available on Xbox and PlayStation consoles. So if you want an adventure type of game, if you want something unique that you're not going to get anywhere else, check out Road 96, because I did, and I'm glad I did. You will be too.
Bamo! And while you're checking out that game, let me tell you, there's a game that slipped my notice. It went by, it came out last year, but I only just caught it. And that's Chernobylite, and that's a game that was made by the Farm 51. It's out now for the PS5, Xbox One X. It's been spruced up, all the usual gimmicks. This game totally gave me the Metro vibes. Okay, and I was late to those, way late. I came in way late to those. Really enjoyed them. I loved that whole like Eastern vibe going on, survival horror type thing, and that's what this is. Except a bit clunkier. It isn't more just a first person. It is a first person shooter, but those are like your typical first person shooters. And this one, you're a man who obviously survived the Chernobyl disaster, but your wife died or disappeared or whatever the case is, and you've been haunted by her visage for years. So you decide to go back to the Chernobyl disaster area site and figure out what the hell happened, uncover the secrets, see what happened exactly to your wife, the whole thing. You know, it's kind of a typical horror story. So there you go. Some cool stuff happens. You get this magical gun that can handle these ghosts that appear in the Chernobyl area. And you also encounter these soldiers who are trying to stop you from figuring out what the hell's going on. All standard stuff. Really neat. The cool part about this game, though, that kind of caught my interest was two things. One, the realistic thing was that this game's, has the survival horror type stuff, having the first person shooter things going on. But instead of it just being a linear experience, you have to actually find and traverse the area, find NPCs, ask them to join you. You have like a base, and then they'll start in old school style, like, hey, send them on a missions. They'll now go gather resources for you, clear areas, do this and that, clear baddies, so you can traverse areas, with ease and not have to worry about the baddies going on, that type of thing. So every mission you have, not only does it get you closer to the end of the story about what happened to your wife, what's going on, but you find NPCs along the way, recruit them into your group, then you build your base up. And by building your base up, I mean you have to build crafting tables, areas to sleep, live, the whole thing. The whole base building operation happens. You get them on board, you start sourcing them to quests and missions and doing stuff like that, which I like. I like that kind of thing. And then on top of that, like I said, in the missions, you can go ahead and once finished with the mission, you can say, I don't want to leave, I want to scavenge. So now you can go around and just collect every resource in that area there was, find any kind of hidden items, anything that would interest you if you're into that, that sort of thing, and do that. And I was like, well, that sounds really cool, especially in this, this Russian Chernobyl environment. That's pretty neat. And I was like, wow, I don't know. I'm still kind of not sold on this. It is an older game, it's not, the graphics aren't like, whoa, out of this world or nothing. But then something happened, Matt. And I went, God, this is a game for me. So when you're in Chernobyl, obviously radiation's happening, you're getting scared, things are weird and spooky. So to fix yourself as you see the perimeters go wrong, what do you think you need, Matt? You need whiskey. That's what you need. That's how you fix yourself, Matt.
Yep. I knew it. I was going to say either there's something to do with whiskey or old Russian dudes around a campfire singing a song and drinking whiskey, because that's what got you into Metro. So it's got to be whiskey related.
And it was. Apparently you just drink whiskey and then you heal yourself. And I went, that's beautiful. That's just poetry right there. I got to play this game now.
So this is the second Eric trope. We know the first one is just someone who swears a lot and says, let's kill everything, like Wanda Sykes in Wonderlands. The other one is just drinking whiskey, being a drunk. So the next time we play a game together and then we find a drunk character, you'll be like, this is the best game ever. This is the best guy. Look at him. Look at him rolling on the floor. Rah!
I don't even know what's happening. Oh, and I'll be cackling. I'll be loving it. I'll be having the best time of my life. So yes, that is the second part that just drew me straight, and I went, oh my goodness. But between that, the joking part, which is still awesome, and then just the reality that I really enjoyed Metro, and this kind of has that vibe, but more of just a spooky, like, kind of explore the environment and send out your minions or whatever, your NPCs to do stuff, and just figure out what happened. I don't know, it looks cool. It looks like something I'd like to play. If you're into that sort of thing, I think they were calling it like a European survival horror type game. Apparently that's a genre. I'm not too familiar with it, but whatever. That's what I was told, so I'll tell you that too.
Okay, so this is a side tangent discussion. What is with all the genres lately? Like, I know. When I was looking up Weird West for my release a couple weeks ago, they're like, oh, it's the latest immersive sim. Immersive sim is the genre that these people have been doing. Dishonored, it's an immersive sim. That's not like a stealth game or a powers game or just an action adventure. That's an immersive sim game. Oh, I really wish we had recorded this podcast like 2 weeks ago, because I was listening to one of my podcasts that goes super deep, like on one game. It'd be like 2 hours of them discussing it. They had the absolute worst genre I've ever heard. It was, instead of Metroidvania, it was like 6 words in a row. And I went, that's not a genre. That's
not even real.
It's not real. Like a run, jump, shoot, collectoroo, exploro type of game. Nope. It wasn't that bad, but it was that long. And I went, just say Metroidvania. I know people don't like it, but just say that. Instead, you made up this weird thing. I don't like that. No.
Now you make no sense, and there's no relation whatsoever. You're just making up a lot of words.
Outside of the 6 people on that podcast, nobody says that. Literally no one. It's an immersive sim game. What the hell does that mean to you, Eric? That means like farming simulator to me. It's an immersive sim. To me.
It means like actual The Sims. It means like a game in which your whole reason for being there is to just cater to these people's lives and take care of them Tamagotchi style and have fun with that. And I don't enjoy that. So instantly when you say it to me, I go, oh, I don't want to do that.
But you've seen Weird West is a top-down like computer RPG. Like a CRPG is what I would call that one.
Yeah, it reminds me of like Shadowrun and stuff like that.
And Dishonored is a first-person, you could say it's a first-person RPG or action adventure. Those words don't go together, especially talking about 2 totally different types of games. You can't do this. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. You're making up genres and things, and I don't understand, and I'm not familiar with it. So I'm like, am I just out of touch? Because that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, oh, an Eastern survival horror. And I'm like, what's that mean? What's the difference? What are the Eastern folks doing that I don't understand?
That means they don't want to say it's like Stalker, or it's like, I think there's another Chernobyl game that I think is like a sort of survival horror. They don't want to compare it to those 2, so they'll just say that's Eastern
Make
survival
up something
horror.
A little bit different. Yeah.
You say Eastern to me, I think of Japanese.
And that's what I think of. Yeah, I'm like, well, Japanese, no, because then you just say like Japanese survival horror, because that is a genre.
That is a genre, because you get the girl with the dark hair and the kids.
Yeah, exactly. We all know what that is. I understand. So, I don't know. I'm just like, whatever. I guess maybe this one I'm missing out on. I wasn't sure if I'm just out of a whole genre. Like I said, I didn't care or know about Metro until I heard about the whiskey and them around the thing, and then I went, oh, I'll play that. That looks fun. So maybe I'm just lost. I don't know. But it did look cool, and I can't believe I missed out on it originally when it came out, but I got a second chance on the new systems if you want to pick it up. And maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll convince my brother to do it. Who knows?
Man, speaking of things, maybe you will, maybe you won't. We got shift codes for keys in 2 fantastic games that aren't obsolete, because during Gearbox's big PAX panel, there was a shift code for 10 skeleton keys in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And then after the show, there was a shift code for a diamond key in Borderlands 3. Keys making comeback. Looks like keys are back on the menu, boys. Yeah,
keys are back on the menu, boys.
That's how we do it.
I'm going to tell you, I'm a terrible human, because I said as soon as Tiny Tina's came out, I got to get back on board. I'm going to do these keys because we need to enjoy them while we're playing. There's like been 3 since I said that, and I haven't got any of them.
I know. I could feel it in my bones.
I'm already feeling it.
I'm going to get on it. And I went, we got on it for the first 2, and you're going to fall off.
And I fell right off.
If they didn't have, I would have redeemed it, because I've been redeeming it just on the phone. As soon as I see it, I click
I don't know
redeem.
what a phone does, so I can't do that.
But today, Gearbox tweeted 18,000 things, so it immediately got lost in all the shuffle. I went, I'll go back and do it, which means I'm not going to go back and do it. But if you are going to do it, you can get some fantastic loot in 2 fantastic games that we're going to talk about even more throughout the rest of the episode. But there is a ton of stuff in just the snippets portion, not even the panel itself. Because, Eric, did you know that there's all kinds of Wonderlands news? First off, they just released a giant big update. All kinds of hot fixes, all kinds of patch notes, all kinds of things. Way too many things.
Way too many things.
But one thing that I didn't know. So Berserker has the spin to win. What was the name of the original spin to win in that game from so long ago that we love so much with that character?
That one Wrath character?
Yeah. That skill name was Dreadwind. What's the name of the Berserker skill? It's also Dreadwind. I'm not a Berserker, so I didn't know this until now. I'm sure everyone else, again, has already played it and beat it. And they know all the things. But I went, oh, that's so cool. That's so awesome. It's right there. And nobody would know unless you know.
Unless they play.
But we do know. So it was great.
That was pretty cool. And I will just say the event, which we don't really care about, was pretty cool. You know, the weekly event, mini event, cosmetics, collectors, increased chances of cosmetics to drop from bosses, especially head, face gear. That sounds awesome.
How do we not care about that, Eric? That's the best thing.
Why do we not care? Because we're never going to get into a boss. We're going to get interrupted after 37 minutes, and we're never going to see the next boss. We're not even going to get to a chance. And then by the time we play it next week, guess what? It's going to be next week. So the cosmetics, collectors is going to be over, man. That's why I'm sad. Because I'm like, wow, this is cool. Me and Matt are going to get screwed. I can feel it in my bones. Like all them bone skeletons we've been fighting this week. You know what I mean? We're just...
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, you have a valid point. But I will say... Well, the other thing that I did like, the one thing that I'll pull out of the patch notes, I'm not sure if it was there or just an update from earlier, is instead of them just looking purple like every other purple gear, they've changed the color and the item, like the look of the item in the status screen, which I think is cool. Because it looks just like every other like generic common thing, but now they've changed that, and instead of, hey, it just looks like a purple and I can't tell what's cosmetic and what's not, boom, they changed that too. So that's fantastic. And did you know, Eric, in addition to all this other Wonderlandsy stuff, the first piece of the season pass dropped today. And we are, like 4 hours into the game, thanks to constant interruptions and bad things and server drops and everything. And people have like hundreds of hours in this game. Jim Ferranda has 100% completed the overworld. Props to you, Jim. You did a great job. We are awful. We're the worst. And we can't even touch the season pass content because we're barely out of Bright Hoof. Maybe I don't even know. It's
insane. It is literally insane. I feel so strange right now. We said we were going to do it, and that's what we're doing. We're going to commit and just have a good time, play as we play. But it feels very weird, man. I ain't going to lie. When they're like, hey, DLC's dropped. Go get it, boys and girls. And I'm like, no, I haven't even started the mission yet. What are we doing?
I will say, we'll have our therapy discussion on the podcast. I felt really bad when I saw it. I went, we're not even anywhere. But at the same time, I remember from Borderlands 3 when I blitzed through it and then the content came, and then what did both of us do? We blitzed through it like in a day. Mm-hmm. That felt really bad. So as weird as this feels, I feel like I'll take this for the Friday night fun we are going to have, because otherwise it would just be, I don't know, just run around. Where are you at? Where are we at? We're in the same place. That's where we are. We're going to continue and do the quest. And we're going to have fun and laugh together instead of, I did this. Come here. We've talked about it already.
Yeah, we have.
It does feel weird, and I feel like a slacker, but it's going to be worth it in the end for us, like enjoyable experience-wise.
But if you are on that, of course, it's Vesper. She's waiting in the Dreamvale Overlook. Go find her. She's got some new stuff for you to do. Have a great time. Do what you do. I haven't really heard much on it yet, whether it's good or bad. You're going to tell me way before I'm going to tell you because, like we said, we're not even started yet. We haven't even got going.
I watched the trailer. There's cool snakes and shark things. It looks very cool. I don't have any idea what anything is about. But what I do know is that, man, you mentioned it before. It's the one thing that can fix you up, is a good stiff drink of whiskey.
Oh, yes.
Man, the only thing that would be better is if you could look at Moxie while you're drinking whiskey. Surprise, suckers. Now you can, if you're in England or the surrounding territories.
Yeah, if you're overseas.
But I did get a link to buy it, in America and have it shipped over, as long as your airport regulations will allow shipping of booze, which I don't think Michigan does, so we'd be screwed either way. Mm-hmm. But I found it earlier, and it was like 22 euros for the bottle and 50 for shipping to the U.S., and I went, okay, in an hour, I'll click on this and I'll get it. 6 hours later, when I finally remembered, it was sold out also. So, if you're in an area where you can get this, there's a Ballantine's collaboration with Borderlands with a Moxie whiskey. The bottle just looks cool. I just wanted the bottle just to have the bottle. I like seeing them branch out to, especially big brands that I know that we've seen, that we've drank before. It's cool.
I was super stoked to see it, but like you said, when I went and researched it, I was like, oh, I can't afford this. It's just not possible. If it was coming over to here, definitively I'd have bought a bottle instantly. But it's not, or at least not as of yet, which I doubt it's going to, just because it's a foreign brand anyway and doesn't typically see the light of day here. So it was sad. I was sad. But then, of course, I'd heard about Gifu. And before the panel, I'd heard about it. But then, of course, at the panel, Erica was mentioning everything. And I was like, gosh, blessed. And I've been to like 4 or 5 stores since then. Still don't see it there. I see the Sonic, I see the Gears, I see other ones, and I'm like, wow. So I'm hoping that even though we're screwing the Moxie, Matt, we can at least get a G Fuel. And I can drink that delicious Tiny Tina's Wonderlands G Fuel and just guzzle it down. Unlike what Erica did when she just took a sip, I will just guzzle it down and be a mad fool.
Now, I will say this, at least, I'm assuming we could at least buy it online. Because, I mean, Michigan has weird, like, you can't ship alcohol here, so I don't think we could have gotten that regardless. This, hey, it's a tub of energy drink, or, you know, a 6-pack of the cans, yeah. I would probably get the tub because I have a little, like, sort of vitamin/energy thing that I put in my big water bottle that I take to work.
Yeah, the tub's healthier anyway, because I think the tubs, you know, those tubs, they generally get rid of all, well, G Fuel gets rid of all the sugar too. I don't know, maybe they are the same, but whatever.
Yeah. But I might get that and then, like, put 1 scoop in the big thing so it's spaced out more. You know, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I got excited because Wonderland's branded stuff, that could be like my next vitamin bottle. Once I go through the G Fuel, then vitamins go in there. Mm-hmm. Now I can see it forever. It's just right there.
Yeah, it's just a cool thing to remember, a cool game and have a fun time with.
Mm-hmm.
So that was neat. And then, of course, she also talked about their brand in general, getting some more stuff out there with European, Japanese, other influencers coming out with cool merch for the Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is also, you know, awesome. Some of it's very expensive, though. I've also, you know, I went and looked at some of it, and just, you know, if you got money and you got money to spend, hey, check this stuff out, because it's really cool. But unfortunately for myself, it just isn't in the cards. It's one of those, oh, it's great to look at, but not going to happen unless they get some of it here naturally, where I can just go like to Hot Topic or something and pick it up.
Or you can go to gearboxloot.com because they did have a discount code, PAX 2022. I screenshotted it off the presentation. And I will say, I went there. I had spent a long time since I've been on gearboxloot.com. Mm-hmm. They did refresh the site. It looks nice and cool and different. So I didn't have a chance, because I was at work, to see if there was a bunch of new stuff on there, especially for Wonderlands. I'm sure there is. But if you want a discount code, PAX 2022 will get you some denomination of money off. I'm not sure she said. She just said, here's a discount code.
Here's a discount. Yeah, there was no specification. But definitely go check it out, because there's a lot of cool merch, and I really want some of it. So maybe I'll go there myself and use that code and maybe actually pick something up. So Matt, you know, let me give you a little bit of back screen here. Matt, he said no. He was going to take this off. He was going to throw it in the trash can. And we won't talk on it long because we got to get to the panel and we're already running short on time. But all right, boys and girls, this ain't got nothing to do with Gearbox, but Outriders World Slayer DLC. It has to be brought up because me and you, Matt, we took a lot of time out of our lives and we played the hell out of some Outriders, and we talked about it on this very show many a time, and how the goons and the NPCs in that game are the worst, dumbest, craziest freaking idiots. And the only cool people there ever were murdered and are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Murdered and dead.
Yes.
And we were so mad, man. We were so mad. We were so mixed. Just this whole whirlwind of emotions. It's just, we enjoyed playing this game, but at the same time, we hated some of these people so much. We just wanted to choke them to death and never want to see their faces again.
There's no conflict. There's no swirling of emotions. There's one emotion, and that's fuck that game.
No, the game was great.
Because of those dumb people, because of that stupid end boss with his million stupid
with his
void
cheat
things.
Bullships.
No.
Yeah, that part was...
No.
I ain't gonna lie to you. You're forgetting the night tonight, though, Matt. We would sit there and we're just using awesome abilities, going up and just racking through the area, you know, from spot to spot. I loved that. That was so much fun.
But here's why we're not going to talk about this DLC, Eric. Because you're not going to buy this DLC.
Yes, I will.
And you're never going to play this game ever again.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. Don't lie to me. You can't spend money. You're a dirty liar. You're dirty. I'm not spending money on a goddamn game. No.
Yes.
No.
We got to do it.
No.
Here's the whole thing. The whole reason I bring it, the story continues, man. We can't let it end. The story goes on. They have new story missions. So we get to keep figuring out what happened to these idiots and what's going on with these clowns. Not only that, but there's a few new biomes. So we get to go to new enemies, new areas. We can't let it die. We can't let it end. It keeps going. We have to figure out what happens.
I think Rad Brad can figure out what happens. And we'll watch Rad. We'll say, yeah, I could. Man, that forest place was so cool. Remember that lava zone? He'd be like, oh, man, you kept falling in that lava. And I'll go, ha ha, I sure did, buddy. Ha ha ha. Whoa, hee hee.
I'm very sad. I thought we had better times with this game. Maybe it was just a one-person relationship. You know what I mean? Those things happen.
You know what they always say. You know what they always say, Eric. You can have a great movie, but if the ending's bad, that's all anybody remembers.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great time, but the ending was horrible. It was terrible.
That's true. I don't know, folks. I just want to let you know we did talk a lot about Outriders. It was a part of our lives for a chunk of time. I'm interested in continuing the story and seeing how these people I hate come out of things.
Matt, I don't want him to come out of things.
He doesn't want to hear about it.
Here.
He doesn't want to know. He wants to end it here. So that's it.
Here's the DLC that I'll buy. If it's like Undead Nightmare. Oh, zombies came out and they ate all the friends and I'm the only the Outriders are left alive. Perfect. I'll sign up for that. I'll shoot monsters. This will be the one zombie thing that I like because they ate all the stupid characters.
Well, the one-eyed chick tries to kill the scientist dude. So maybe she succeeds. Maybe there's some hope.
She's not going to succeed.
I know.
It's not going to work.
I'm just trying to lure you in. Maybe there's new skill trees, new everything for your class. There's new points that you can collect from doing the campaign mode that allow you to get some new abilities going on. Obviously, a bunch of new weapons, all sorts of new stuff. Maybe. I'll keep badgering you.
But we're going to go from something that will never be enjoyed by anybody to something...
It will be! You're wrong. I hate you, man.
To something that was enjoyed by all, because I preface before we get to the panel. I mean, the Gearbox setup at PAX East looks phenomenal. It made me so sad seeing the giant booth and the merch display that we kind of talked about already, all lit up, looking like a proper chopper. It looked phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And then the panel showed up, and there was all kinds of good times, all kinds of fun stuff. But the things that stood out for me were game reveals from Gearbox Publishing. We've seen a teaser for Hyperlight Breaker before, which is the sequel to Hyperlight Drifter. It was basically the same trailer here. But then the trailer that didn't want to play and decided to play eventually, Relic Hunter's Legend. Obviously, we know basically nothing about it. They said shooting and looting, and they showed maybe 15 seconds of action. But that 15 seconds, it caught my attention. Like hordes of enemies and all kinds of shooting and jumping around, and I couldn't tell if it was fat pixels or really hand-drawn graphics, but the graphics looked sharp and the action looked fast and fluid. It looked like a lot of fun to me. It caught my eye. I'm going to be looking out for it.
I was mixed. I was with you. I was like, okay, this looks like something, we could just have a great time with. Like one of those side games we play on a Friday night. We don't really feel like our main adventure, just going in, lots of bullets, everything going on, lots of enemies on the screen. But what bugged me, it wasn't the graphics, wasn't anything. It was the weapons. When the weapons popped up, it had that Fortnite look. Like, it looked bubbly. It didn't even remind me of Fortnite, to be honest. The first thing I thought was Kingdom Hearts in the bubblegum ships. Wherever that crap was.
I wouldn't know.
You probably don't even know. But it just looked really kind of hokey to me. I was like, I don't like that. I wanted it to be just gritty, realistic. I don't even care if it's realistic. It doesn't matter. I just wanted it to be anything but bubblegummy. And maybe it's not. Maybe it was that one image they showed of the gun when it pulled up and it started showing you the stats of that particular weapon. But it was all like triangles and circles and just made of like bubblegum pieces, basically. And that really threw me off. Like, I took a sharp turn and I went, no, I don't want to play that. But the rest looked good. Like, it looked like fun. And I'm like, okay.
You could be hitting them with cotton candy on a stick if that action looked that fun and plays that fun. I mean, Randy Pitchford gave it a glowing review.
He did. He said he's played over 40 hours, like, straight away and was loving it.
So we'll see. We'll see some more on it, obviously. But it looks like Smash TV, sort of, but with, like, more multiplayer. Like, they showed 4 players all at once.
Yeah, going crazy.
And I love that kind of game with just enemies all over the screen, bullets all over the screen, running and jumping. And I mean, literally running and jumping, which you couldn't do in Smash TV. You could just walk around and shoot. Mm-hmm. So I want to see how that influences this kind of like horde or wave-based game, if it is anything like that. But I don't know. I was hyped for it. I am remaining hyped for it.
Let me get you down, man. Okay. I'm not saying I'm like being a Debbie Downer. I love, like, I grew up on Gradius, Life Force, games like that. I love the bullet hell type, thing going on. So I loved it. It's just, I don't want to, I hope it doesn't go like super kiddie the whole way through, where it's like every gun's like lollipops and candy canes and string. I know you said as long as the action's fine, but I don't know what it is. That it throws me off. Whenever you're talking about killing, I want killing. Don't go, hey, but you're actually just a fluffy cotton candy man, and it's not anything you're killing. It's just like a thing. And I'm like, no. Let's just kill people. Let's just do that. That's more fun.
It's not going to be that because you didn't see any blood stuff in there. Well,
yeah, I know.
Why are you playing Wonderlands? You don't kill anything in Wonderlands. Everything sparkles and rainbows in that game too. What's wrong with you?
No. It's just the content. It's the way it was portrayed. Like I said, I just don't want the guns to look like cotton candy and lollipops. Don't do that. I don't care about the rest. Just anything but that. I hope it was just the one gun. I want to see more. I can't wait to see more because the action itself looked great. I was looking forward to it, and I was like, cool. And then they gave us that short tease. I was like, damn it, Randy. You told me this game was amazing, and I want to see more of it. Now you got to feed me more. And, of course, you go, oh, we're going to show you more later. I'm like, show me 20 minutes now, Randy. Give me 20 minutes.
Give me a French tickler weapon. One big, long, fluffy little pink thing that I can tickle my enemies to death with.
Give me a cat of nine tails. If we're going to go in that direction, fine. Give me that one.
But something that they are going to give us is another cool game that I thought looked really nice, like looked fantastic. And then watching the gameplay, I really liked the look and the feel of it as well. Eyes in the Dark,
yep.
A black and white game all about darkness and monsters and fighting them with your flashlight and then getting pieces and abilities that upgrade your flashlight. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they said it's a roguelite game, which is up my alley. Making different runs, powering up your flashlight in different ways. This looked great. I will tolerate no BS from you on this one, because this looked like a lot of fun. If you disagree, get out of my house.
It did look great. I mean, roguelite, though, it's not up my alley. You know this. It's not like I'm trying to... Instantly, when you said roguelite, I'm like, oh, okay, shit. But I love the flashlight mechanic. I love that. I was like, well, that looks really fun. I really want to try this out. I really want to play this. Like you said, I love the color, the black and white whole thing going on. And then this girl in this mansion with the curious case of the Victoria Bloom, inside this big house, having to figure out, save her parents, save her family or whatever. All that was cool. I was loving it. But I was like, oh man, roguelites. I want to love them. I keep playing them and trying them and I just can't get on board. And so this is like another one where I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to play it. It's just a given because it looks cool. I like how everything's panning out. I like the looks of it. But will this be the roguelite, Matt? If frickin' Hades didn't do it, is this going to be the one that gets me? I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell.
I'm going to reserve comments because you threw that in there just to spite me, and I know you did because you're a bad person. But we're going to close it out on a high note.
No, I really love the game. It looks great. I'm not being an a-hole. I'm just saying, roguelites I just keep buying. I've got like 5 of them I've never finished. Because I keep going, this is the one. I can't wait. Nah, I hate these games. Even though it's not a bad game at all. I understand, but something that we should both be excited for. Yes.
Because it is a sequel, not like a direct sequel, but another entry in the franchise of a game that we both loved. That was awesome. That generated brand new characters that got folded into the major series. Randy Pitchford at the end of the panel. After all the stuff, after all the rigmarole, after all the talking, a new entry in Tales from the Borderlands developed in-house at Gearbox. So this is a twofer. Not only is it a new Tales from the Borderlands, which Tales from the Borderlands is my favorite piece of Borderlands probably, like just story-wise, character-wise, interactions-wise. But this is possibly what you have said for a long time. You don't want Gearbox to just do first-person funny shooters. Now they're doing a narrative-based game. What frame that will be, what actions that will take, who knows? But it's a new type of game for Gearbox.
Indeed it is, and I cannot wait. Oh man, like you said, I love Tales from the Borderlands. What a wonderful title it is. The characters, the story told, everything was just fantastic. And I'm hoping that Gearbox takes what Tales did and studies it, puts their magic on it, really learns from how and why that succeeded. And like Randy said, they're not going to put it in where everybody else already is. It's going to be its own tale, new characters in the Borderlands universe, which gives them just such a free reign. And that's what I'm looking for. I want to see a story told that ain't tied into something that like forces them into some tropes or any BS. Go nuts, have a good time, tell a fresh story. And if you tie it in a tertiary sense somewhere, cool. And if not, I don't care either. But this is great. Because this, like you said, will really give them some chops to do something fresh, something new, something that is their typical, first-person shooter type. I heard this, and then to boot, something about 2022 coming out. Did he say it was coming out, or did he say it's going to be more news this year? Because I am hazy on that at this point.
I believe he said in June there will be more news about it, but I almost feel like he said 2022.
I could have swore he said it's coming out this year.
He definitely said they'll show more off in June, though, which is right around the corner, as we always say on the show.
So I was, too, very stoked about this. I can't wait to see what Gearbox Software Official is going to do with, this title. And, of course, it's published by 2K, so the money's there. They ain't got to worry about any of that. It's going to be phenomenal. I
just hope that they take the same kind of, not the same kind of style, but Tales from the Borderlands had so many visual gags or, alternative, when you could choose your dialogue options, you could make so many references to other things or jokes from outside the typical Borderlands humor via your choices. And then, like I said, the visual humor of a lot of the shots. I really hope they take that kind of stuff to heart. Because I love Borderlands, and I love the Borderlands humor, and I love Wonderlands and the Wonderlands humor. But you could go so kind of off the rails in references to other things in Tales that I hope they flesh that out even more, possibly, but at least take that same kind of player choice into the new version, because that was my favorite part about it. So I'm excited. I'm hyped.
Okay, I can't wait to see what they do. I would love to see a lot of player choice. I'd love to see alternate endings that are big time changes and really affect you. That's always been my wish for any game, man, to be honest with you, is not the S tier ending, the Alpha tier ending, the Bravo tier, whatever you want to call it, Charlie tier. I want to see endings that are just endings. You can actually make a completely different set of decisions, and it isn't necessarily the E tier ending. This is a legitimate ending based off decisions you made. This other ending is a legitimate ending based off the decisions you made. Instead of, ha ha ha, because you didn't do this, you get a 2-second crap ending, and that's the end. I would love to see them embrace something like that and change the way games function, as they do now, where to get this ending, the real ending, you have to do such and such and such. Because what's everybody going to do, man? They're going to go do the S tier ending. You want the true ending. So it takes away player choice because you're just going to go look up what's the right choices to make because you don't want to get the freaking E tier ending and then have to go play the game again. This would be a great opportunity for Gearbox to change something again in a particular genre by making player choice really matter and giving you real endings that can be different but also legitimate.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I feel like if they continue in the Tales format, though, sure there are different endings you can get, but my journey in all of those games is just I played it just like you do most RPGs.
Yeah,
that's my decision. That's what
I'm getting.
Yeah, that's what we did in The Walking Dead, in Game of Thrones, in Tales of the Borderlands, in any of the other Telltale games. There's no other choices. In my game, they did this. No, that doesn't exist. This is what happened. So, yeah, I feel you on that. But as long as it's kind of that same kind of structure, we'll talk about, hey, did you do this, this, this? No, I did this, this, this. And after that, we went and blah, 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 blah. Oh, cool, cool, cool. So I'm hoping that's the case, and we can have those awesome conversations.
I do too. And real briefly, since we're at the end of the show, I also want to mention, he of course said there's going to be big news on some other stuff, like Brothers in Arms, which we already know, we've talked about it for years. They've been doing Brothers in Arms. They're just never going to mention this freaking game. But beyond that, what I got excited for was Duke Nukem. He said, we got big news on Duke Nukem. And I went, what? Nukem Duke? That's coming? Is that what we're doing? It's coming true.
To be fair, he said that stuff in the Gearbox Movie Studios segment of things.
That's true. Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
Dang it,
But if you're pulling out one thing, I'll pull out another quick thing. It's been 3 years since I've said this. I want to hear more from the user research team. Because we get the numbers, and they say, oh, you guys have killed 4.7 billion skeletons. And that's cool. But I want to know deeper stuff than that. I want a web page of just all the things. Like, what's the most used weapon to kill bosses, or these tier bosses, or that? I want to know all that stuff because they collect all that data. That's why patches go in. And when the user research team was doing those presentations ages ago, I ate them up. I couldn't get enough of that. Like, these regular stats are fine, but I want to know the correlations between this. How many skeletons were killed with this? How many times did you get a critical hit on a skeleton and it went poof and, exploded? I want to know all the crazy stuff. So whenever I see just the regular numbers, I go, oh, you could be giving me so much more in just a panel of just that. And I just want to eat it all up. I miss those user research people. I miss them. Come on back.
I do too. It is a shame to have seen them kind of take a rear seat in the whole thing. But of course, you mentioned that, and then now you go, oh yeah, they had Graham and them come out for that whole thing about how they got this, the event coming up with the Malon event. Mm-hmm. The bosses are going to turn to raid bosses. They got some new skins coming out for Borderlands 3. Mm-hmm. And that got me going, man, I'd like to fight those bosses again. That'd be fun. And as a raid boss, that'd be pretty cool. Me and Matt go in there, kill him as a raid boss, and then, of course, get that really cool skin, assuming the community does it enough times. Mm-hmm. I'm all about that. That wouldn't take a lot of time. That's a nice hey, let's go spend 20 minutes in here, see if we can do it. Then, boom, bust out, get back into Tiny Tina's. Oh, man. Huh.
It feels so nostalgic now.
Yeah.
Because I just thought, man, I could run around with Mr. Beef again. Mm-hmm. And just instantly never die. And see you
smack up
going whole hog as Iron Bear. It's so weird because we did stuff so separate, but that we coalesced in like the perfect co-op team. You're just Damage McGee, I'm Live Forever Jones. What great games, and what a great company that we're all fans of. And people could say whatever they want, but man, Gearbox gives you such good gameplay experiences that you can experience with your best buddy. So tell us about some of them via the email, thirdshiftme@gmail.com, on the Twitter machine @thirdShiftME. Find us on Facebook under Third Shift. Tell us some good Gearbox stuff. Did we miss something from the panel that you're very excited about? Are you very excited about the same things? Are we totally wrong on something? Let us know via all those things. Do it. Do it.
Do it. That's right. You can do it. And of course, while you're doing that, head on over to Patreon. Like a little old tip jar. Throw us $1, $2, $3, kind of bucks. Any bucks. Helps us out, keeps the lights on, pays the bills, lets us upgrade equipment, do all sorts of fun stuff. You can do that for us if you like the show, if you like what you're hearing. If you ain't got money and you do want to support us in some other way, Matt just told you. Go give us that feedback. Go tell us what's up. Tell us some questions. What do you want us to talk about? Things like that. All that's fun. Any interaction's great. 5-star reviews on the old Spotify, on the iTunes. You know how it goes. You've heard it a billion trillion times. Help us help you. That's the end of the story.
But I'm going to continue the story by saying you can continue your Third Shift story by listening to the very next episode, which will be dropping on the 28th of April on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Podbean, on Spotify, and on YouTube. And as I always say, hey, if you like what we're doing and you'd like to help us out, please give us a like, a rating, a review, a comment, a subscription, any kind of good thing on any one of those good services, because it does help us out. And we really do appreciate it.
You know we really appreciate it, just like we appreciate those 5-star reviews. And someday, like I said, I'll check that Spotify, 'cause apparently there's like 3 over there. But I don't know how. I don't even think I got the information for that Spotify for the Third Shift Me account yet. But maybe someday I will know. We'll see. But I appreciate those who have done it. It's so gratifying and awesome. Thank you so much.
And with that, there's nothing else to say, but
don't forget
to say.
Shut up and sit down.